All right, let's dive right in. If you're looking to get a real handle on the core of Python, you are in the perfect spot. Today, we're taking a quick look at variable types. These are the absolute building blocks for pretty much everything you're going to do in the language. So let's get to it.
So first things first, what even is a variable? Well, the easiest way to think about it is like a labeled box where you can stick some information. It's really just a name that points to a value. And the second you use that little equal sign, boom, you've just created one. It's that simple.
Now, not all information is created equal, right? Python has different kinds of boxes or types for different kinds of data. Let's kick things off with the most basic, fundamental ones. First up is the integer, or int for short. This is your go-to for any whole number. We're talking no decimals, no fractions, just straight up counting numbers, whether they're positive, negative, or just plain old zero.
For example, you might store someone's age, like 25, or maybe a chilly temperature, like -5. Both of these, perfect jobs for an integer.
Okay, but what about numbers that aren't so whole? What if you need more precision? That is exactly where floating point numbers, or floats, come into play. These are for any number that has a decimal point. Think about a number like pi, or something like a person's weight. If it's got a decimal, chances are it's a float. All right, moving on from numbers, let's talk about text. This is where strings, or str, come in. Basically, any chunk of text wrapped in either single or double quotes is a string in Python. So a name like Alice or the classic Hello World, both strings. And here's a cool thing about Python, it really doesn't care if you use double quotes or single quotes, just as long as you pick one and stick with it. And now for one of the simplest, but maybe one of the most powerful types out there, the Boolean, or bool. A Boolean can only ever be one of two things, true or false. That's it. It's like the ultimate on-off switch for your code.
And you are going to use these all the time to check if something is true. Is a user's account active? True. Are they logged in right now? Maybe that's false. These simple little values are what make your programs smart. Okay, so we've got variables that can hold one piece of info. But what if you want to store a whole bunch of related things together? For that, we need to look at Python's collection types. The most common collection you'll see is the list. It's a group of items that has a specific order, and this is the important part, it's mutable. That's just a fancy word meaning you can change it after you make it. You can add things, remove things. It's super flexible, which is why you see lists everywhere. You can make a list of strings, like our fruits example here, or a list of numbers. You just wrap whatever you want in these square brackets, and you've got yourself a list. Next up, meet the list's close cousin, the tuple. Now, it looks a lot like a list, but there is one massive difference. A tuple is immutable, and that means once you create it, you cannot change it, ever. It's locked in, which is great for data that you know shouldn't be altered. You make tuples with parentheses instead of square brackets, and they're just perfect for things that need to stay constant, like a set of XY coordinates or a fixed list of colors. All right, let's get a little different with the set. A set has two big rules. First, it's unordered, so the items are just kind of thrown in there with no specific position. And second, it only stores unique items, no duplicates allowed. And this example shows it perfectly. Look, we try to create a set with a bunch of 3s and 2s, but nope. Python just automatically gets rid of the duplicates, leaving us with just one of each. It's an amazing tool for when you need to find all the unique things in your data, like instantly. Okay, our last collection type is the dictionary, or dict. And honestly, the name is perfect. If a list is like a number to-do list, a dictionary is, well, it's like a real dictionary. You don't use a number to find something, you use a unique key to look up its value. Take a look at this student example. The keys are name, age, and grade, and their values are Ali, 21, and A. See how that works? It's an incredibly powerful way to store information about a single thing. So we've seen all these different types, but this next part, this is where Python's flexibility really, really shines. We need to talk about one of its signature features, dynamic typing. Just look at this. We have one single variable, x. In the first step, it's holding an integer, 10. Then, in the next step, we tell it to hold the word 10, and poof, it's a string now. Then we tell it to hold a list, and it becomes a list. In Python, the variable itself doesn't have a type. The value it's holding does. This makes coding in Python incredibly fast and fluid. So, if a variable can just change its identity on a whim, you're probably asking, how in the world do I keep track of what I'm working with, right? Well, luckily, Python gives us a super simple tool for that. It's a built-in function called type. You just pop your variable inside the parentheses, and Python will tell you exactly what kind of thing it is at that very moment. Here, x is holding a float, so type tells us it belongs to the float class. Easy.
And just like that, you've got the essentials. Happy coding!